Next up, we have Ms. SuHong from UNODC. She is associate expert supporting youth mainstreaming in drug use prevention through Youth Initiative. She also recently began her project. Called Friends in Focus. She has 7 years experience with the Ministry of Government. Her work on narcotics control is very fascinating. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me the floor and also for the invitation to speak today. I'm also very grateful to see the attendance in this room today, despite it being a very early morning session and also the last day of CND. So thank you for sticking around and the interest in being with us today. And I think I also interpret this the presence here as support for young people, in particular strengthening their resilience, as is the title of the side event. But I think that this support should not just stop with building resilience in the youth, but also supporting them exert this positive influence upon their peers as well. Which actually brings me to my presentation, which I think is being pulled up, where I'll be introducing some initiatives at UNODC where we try to work with and for young people in the area of drug use prevention, so that they can help their peers and their friends become resilient as well. If you can bear with us for just a moment. Thank you. So at UNODC, we started to promote a culture of prevention that is aligned with evidence, with prevention science. And this is when we engage with member states, when we work with counterparts in the field, when we also engage with international partners or other civil society partners. And I hope that some of us here in the room and or many of us are familiar with the international standards on drug use prevention that is shown on the screen here, which summarizes the science and evidence of what works and what does not work in prevention. But then you might ask, why prevention science? And to put it simply, it's because we need prevention that works. And because the resources are not infinite, I think most of us would agree that we want to invest resources in strategies and activities that bring effectiveness to the work that we do. But what is also good news is that evidence-based prevention strategies are not only effective in preventing drug use, they are also effective in preventing other violence or other risky behaviors as well. And so at UNODC, we've availed family-based prevention programs that are available in the public domain. And these are meant to support better family functioning so that the child can grow up in a supportive, warm, caring environment where he or she has that positive, healthy attachment to their parent and caregivers so that the child can grow up healthy and safe. And so here are the two programs that UNODC has developed and has availed. And so we've covered the family base. We're targeting the parents and the children, but then what about youths? And at UNODC, to support youth, we operate a youth initiative that is meant to support youth in advocacy efforts on prevention, for them to learn about what is effective prevention, and for them to be empowered to also support back within and contribute back within their communities, and also to support them in mainstream perspectives in various sessions, such as the CND. And I'll give a little bit more explanation when we get to the slide. And so this youth initiative has been operational since 2012. It was initiated as a platform for youth to share their experiences, their ideas, their creativities, and to also get support for their own prevention activities as well. And so there are two main tracks where we try to support youth. The first is the Youth Forum, and the second is the DAPC Grants Program. And with the Youth Forum, we actually just held it last week on the sidelines of CND, but the Youth Forum aims to connect, engage, and empower young people within the field of drug prevention so that they can better protect the health of themselves, but also their peers. And so we try to support youth in learning and understanding about what is effective evidence-based prevention. And also we hope that it connects them with other young people from other parts of the world who are active, who are interested in prevention work, so that they can become their own support networks and resources as well. And also through the Youth Forum, the youth have the opportunity to bring their voices to the global policymaking arena through the drafting of a joint statement that they make together and is delivered during the plenary of CND. And then just to quickly say that the second track that we have is a grants program, which is a mechanism that can directly fund youth-centered prevention projects in low and middle-income countries. But then we were thinking, because it had become that we had reached that sort of 10-year mark with the youth initiative, and we were thinking of how can we better support youth in being beyond, advocates of prevention messaging? How can we provide more practical resources and tools for them to be active and engaged? And so that actually brings us to where we are now, where we are developing this new peer-to-peer program for youth so that they can become also leaders within prevention efforts in their communities. And so before embarking on this journey, we had done a little bit of research, but we found that there weren't so many peer-to-peer programs that were targeting the older adolescent age group, but that were also in the public domain. And so we decided to develop, UNODC decided to develop this peer-to-peer prevention program that is youth-focused in the hopes that it would provide the opportunity and also the tool for youth to be more easily and more actively engaged in prevention efforts within their homes. And so with this new program, we really look forward to having and helping youth to be the implementers, the main actors of prevention projects and activities, and to be really engaged throughout the whole process. So from the development, the implementation, and also the evaluation. And it really continues to build on the concept of doing things with youth and not just to youth, to have them also be involved in the process as well. And it also builds on the idea of having them as the transformative power in them and support them in becoming the change makers in their communities as well. And so this new program is being spearheaded under the name of Friends in Focus. It is based on a format of cascade trainings of youth, so trainings from peers to their peers or friends. And so here on the screen, you see the overall phases of the program. On the very left, you have phase one, where the master trainer, the person in the yellow there is training a group of peer trainers or peer leaders on a series of sessions, interactive sessions that they're meant to then go on to relate to their other friends. And so the peer trainer who is trained, that will be the person in red, would then go on in phase two to gather also a group of peers who are perhaps a little younger than the peer trainer. And then they would be training on delivering these sessions that they were trained on further to their peers. And then it is our hope that through the last phase, that the trained peers then go on to talk to their friends, within their networks, perhaps in informal settings, to further disseminate the prevention messaging and the aha moments and the things that resonated with them through the trainings. And so through this intervention of interactive sessions to be delivered by young people, the program seeks to positively influence young people with their behaviors, their normative beliefs, their attitudes, their perceptions of risk, as was discussed just a little before, and really help them to recognize some of the risk and protective factors that they might be exposed to within their environments, in their surroundings. Also learn how to critically think about and reflect about the information that they're exposed to from the media. Also, another big thing that comes up is how do you act in situations of pressure, which sometimes is brought up as a challenge in young people. And because finally prevention is about the development in the person and building resilience in the person, we hope that through this sort of peer mechanism, this mentorship guidance approach, that the peer leaders will help their fellow peers on how to visualize and how to adopt strategies to help them develop, not just personally, but perhaps also academically, socially, to reach their goals. And so currently the program is under development, and we are approaching this, doing this together with a global group of global experts that are obviously experts in prevention science, also that have lots of experience in working with youth and for youth. But more importantly, because this is a program for youth to be used by youth, what's a program without the youth input. So we also do have an active group of young people who are contributing also to the feedback process of the program. So we've involved them very early on in the development stages to hear their feedback, because it is our hope that this program will be understandable, relatable, but also importantly deliverable by young people to their friends. And then also I was explaining earlier that evidence-based aspect is key also to the program. So once a prototype of the program is available, we will be pilot testing it in various sites around the world. For now, for this year, we have the plans of pilot testing it in Central Asia and Southeastern Europe. But we hope that once the Friends of Focus program is finalized, materialized, that we do have further interest and support for pilot testing it in other places as well. So with Friends of Focus, we hope that it will be a tool that is helpful for young people who are looking for ways to be active in prevention, in helping their friends, their peers, by availing this evidence-based peer-to-peer package for them that is meant to have a multiplier effect within schools and their communities. And here's like a diagram of it, but we feel that with the right tools, the right trainings, the resource, and the support, youth can contribute to a more positive environment for themselves, for their families, for their friends, for their peers, through meaningful participation. And actually, this reminds me of how the youth forum participants of this year, when they were addressing the plenary of CND through their draft statement, they actually ended their statement by saying, if you don't mind that I say that, passion moves hearts, support moves hands. We have the passion, the heart, and the hands. So give us the support and change will happen. And so I think that their words very clearly indicates their willingness, also their readiness in being involved in prevention efforts, and to be those change makers in their communities. And so just to close out my presentation, I think the main takeaways would be that prevention works, evidence-based prevention that is, and that youth do have a role to play in prevention, just besides being just the end receivers of a program. They can also be taking part in contributing to the process, to the implementation as well. And for that, it's very important to work together. And here on the right, you have the QR code for the new website of Friends in Focus, which is very, very new. We just had it up in time for Sandy that I'm very glad about, but you will find more information there if you're interested in learning more about this program. That would be it from me. Thank you very much for your attention.